Senator Wells.
Speaker, and again, thank you, Minister O'Regan. I'm going to go to the second part of my earlier question. Your Cabinet colleague, and this is in relation to your duties as Regional Minister, your Cabinet colleague, Associate Minister of Finance, Boissonnault, said the transition, the phasing out of the oil industry, will take $100 to $125 billion per year up to 2050, given that Canada's CO2 emissions represent only 1.5% of global emissions. 1.5. Essentially, if Canada disappeared from the map, there'd be zero impact on global emissions. Where in the world does this expenditure make sense on any scale?
Minister O'Regan.
I can't speak directly to the quote, but I could just say that, there is the oil and gas industry. We've never produced more oil than we are right now. That is that is a fact. The prosperity that it brings to every corner of this country is a fact. Climate change is also a fact. And the future competitiveness of the industry is a fact. I mean, Alex Porbay, and I can tell you, Alex is I dealt with Alex, the CEO of Seamus in Calgary. I mean, I wouldn't call him a tree hugger, but he sees the competitive sense in this. And so he came out and says there's huge opportunity in lowering emissions, working with the government on lowering emissions and increasing renewables. By the way, it's worth noting, too, that the province of Alberta, by a country mile, leads this country in wind and solar. By a country mile. The thing that we also have to make sure that we're going to do, and this, came out in the federal economic statement, is make sure, just because they're producing wind and solar doesn't necessarily mean that they embrace workers. Some of them don't. Some of them are looking for non-union workers. So we want to make sure that any tax credit we give to companies that are building up renewables are worker-friendly, much as the Biden administration has done. I still can't get over it. I mean, dealing with the Trump administration, my 2 years as Natural Resources Minister, they weren't worker-friendly either. And now we have an administration and a trading partner and a great friend and ally that is challenging us not only, and our biggest customer by far of oil and gas, who's challenging us to match them on lowering emissions and building up renewables and looking after workers. Good problem to have.